everyone, this is Call's Corner. Thanks for clicking on me again, and today is a very exciting day for me, particularly because these lessons that are upcoming are profound. This is to me where it really begins to make a huge difference in our shifting of perception of how we see things, and being able to see things that haven't been seen before, or maybe just momentarily. But when this becomes a sustained awareness of love, which filters then out everything that doesn't fit into it, you basically begin to see. And that is the title of the next lesson that we're going to do today, if you're with me. And that is called I Am Determined to See. This is the first lesson that he is going to bring in some structure, where he actually goes, okay, your mind has not been disciplined. You can't stay fully locked in your sense of trueness or unity. And so now we're going to refocus to something that will open up your vision, right? Without a vision, there is no way you can see the kingdom of heaven. So unless that's awakened, all the efforts are just efforts. Awakening is does not require effort. However, it does require determination, to be determined to see truly, because what we see now, well, let's look at the world. What we see now, what do we see? We see disasters everywhere. There's lots of disease and a deadly kind of virus around. People are dying. Of course, they were dying before, but now there's some kind of speed up in that. And this is obviously not what God created for us, and the very fact that we actually see these things are actual proof that we don't understand God, and if we don't understand God, we don't understand ourselves. So it's all about remembering who we truly are, and that cannot be seen with these eyes that we are using right now, the body's eyes. At some point, the body's eyes close. That's why we call it like a small death. We close our eyes, and we begin to see on within. But if you close your eyes, what do you see now? Do you see the kingdom of heaven? Do you truly see on what's within? Do you see the golden light that you are? Can you imagine it? But that's not going to get you very far, because imagination works on putting things, bits and pieces from the past, and mocking up something that will look like a future. Same with creation, like with the art. You need clay, and then you make something out of it, but you're using something from the past to make something that's going to have a different shape, and it's going to be still within the reality of form. Creation has nothing to do with form. Creation is a completely different way of being. So these lessons are going to lead up some very important things, and it's going to point to what is that which stops us from seeing truly. There are certain actions of a mind when they are occurring, like having grievances, for example, or attacking thoughts, just similar. There's no way you can actually see. That's exactly what cancels out this inner seeing, this vision. In Course in Miracles, they call it vision. My experience of gaining this vision was that, like, at some point I closed my eyes, and then my eyes, without any effort, turned as if backwards and downwards, and then they merged into one. Suddenly there was no dual eyes. There was just this one eye. Yeah, could just stop right there. And that is the vision with which I truly see, yeah, and which everyone can see, right? This is not like I have something and you don't. All I'm here to say, hey, let's find this together, because then the fun begins. And instead of communicating like this verbally, we unite and you communicate in unity. It's a whole different level of dialogue that's available, that does not involve grievances, that doesn't involve gossiping, doesn't involve needing to put something up or down, yeah? Ourselves up and someone else down, or us down and put someone else up. And all your holy men will be all sitting there in your heart, saying, you know, we've been here all along. You don't have to now. Find yourself, anyone else, because your inner light will guide you where you truly need to go. Because there's no teacher out there. Yeah? There's no teacher out there who knows what is absolutely necessary just for you, unless that teacher is really in touch with you know, in constant communication with God, and unless these teachers have profoundly evolved their feeling body, there is no way they are in this communication, and they might be able to say the things that the ego loves hearing, but it's not necessarily going to dislodge that which needs to be dislodged specifically in your own structure as you separated yourself, because we all separated slightly differently. For some people, you know, the feelings are different, predominantly that which they are most afraid of. And really there is no birth of Christ without this mother aspect of creation. It's just not. It can be temporarily dropped in, like an idea of Jesus or anyone who can just say, hey, love is, and you go, ooh, I'm having an experience. But that came from outside. What has to happen, you have to have your own birth of Christ within yourself. Yeah, you birth it. And when you birth it, then it's all about not kill it like the Herod. Yeah? The ego is like this killing machine that shoots in a place where we didn't even know that it was doing so, right? So we are so shocked out and so numbed out in part of ourselves that we don't realize that we attack ourselves first and then we attack someone else. So these lessons are going to bring in that awareness and make us aware where we attack ourselves without giving up attack thoughts. And if we don't even know that we are actually attacking ourselves, it's very difficult. Once you begin to see where you attack yourself, because you can what? You can feel it. It's like, ooh, I've just injured myself, right? And these attacks, what they also do, they shut down this will of God in us, this feeling part of ourselves that can actually create. And that's how we annihilate our true nature. And then we go out there and we're trying to kill it in a corporate world, or we're trying to kill it somewhere. But it's all just some form of murder. It's like, you know, we come home exhausted, we come not often fulfilled, we have tensions with colleagues, whatever. There's millions of options how to do this, right? And yet, in you is everything you ever needed, and can sustain you and can lead you to the right things. So we're going to have a look at that, what it is that actually, you know, knocks us out takes us out. So, so it is really important that if we really look at our thinking, you know, that this determination to see has to become strong, right? And so he says, you know, do this as often as you can today. I'm determined to see. Yeah. You don't really know what, but you just have this determination to see something else, right? Than what we normally see. Because when this comes in, you will begin to look at everything different. Like in a blink of an eye, the whole world changes. And you go, wow, what happened? Like I said last time, you know, had a momentary shift in perception. In a second, my eyes closed, turned backwards, boom. And, you know, I laughed my head off for days. Just laughing, and I just felt like wherever I looked, there was only unity. And then it shut down. I had to look at what did I do that this channel has closed down. So first you look for this awakening, then you look how it closes down on you, right? And you see the mechanics. You start seeing the mechanics of separation, how you separate you from you. Is if you're in any way separated within yourself, that's all you project to the world. You see a separate world, separate things, separate people. And if you harbor attacking thoughts in your mind, then you will become defensive, because you will project them out there, and then you will you will expect the vengeance strike at you. So these are great lessons. Where we need to go. So first thing is a determination, and that we're gonna set in for a journey now. Yeah, it's like, okay, let's do this. You know, the determination, and of course this has to be for you. For some people, this course is not for certain people, and that's perfectly okay. Like, I'm not saying, you know, everybody has to do this. I'm just saying, if you want to have this Christ awakening, it takes a little bit of training until the mind see what it does, until you recognize the ego structures and how it's constantly offering you this carrot that you will never be able to reach. And that's the ego's plan for salvation, you say. It gives you all these things out there, and then you will never be able to reach it, because ego's basic premises, you know, seek and do not find, you know, put you on a long journey. And yeah, it can be an interesting journey, and it is, and eventually we'll get to it. But there are faster ways, and for me, realizing that the capacity to feel was the key. I think it's a lesson 189. It says, I feel the love of God within me now. And when you do, you feel it all the way down to your groin. You know, it's a full body experience, because the body is actually like the mirror of what is happening, you know, it, and also outer reality. It's only an illusion because our mind is illusory. It's not like the world is an illusion. No, the mind that observing it is an illusion. And then when a shift occurs, the whole world changes. Yeah, like when I had a shift, I walk into a room and I go like, oh my God, everyone's awake. What happened last night? Oh, that's what happened last night. My mind has changed, right? And then I had to begin to work a little bit on like, how do I shut this down? And what was still happening for me, even so my mind was bright as the clear sky. Particularly right now we have this winter coming, and it's just clear and crisp outside, and that's just how the mind gets real crisp and clear. However, when I was slowing down, I always felt a little twitches of annoyance somewhere. And until I begin to look at those, because that's what that awakening is. We awaken and we'll see more. We see more of ourselves. And I saw that I was not having all my feelings forgiven. And I'll say this briefly again, because the forgiving situations, it's got nothing to do with the people. It's got everything to do with what these people bring in us. Right? So then forgiving them, it's just a waste of time. You know, there comes a gratitude. You go like, thanks for triggering this part of me that I didn't see. Give them the reward, at least in form of gratitude. And then the homework begins. What am I resisting in myself? What am I attacking in myself? And you'll see that that feeling that arises, that we call negative, gets attacked. And this, until the feeling body is a little bit trained, will be almost unnoticed. I actually know a whole bunch of people who use this light to look upwards, right? And that maintains it for a while, but it will never be sustained, yeah? Because we have to find our whole mind. And part of the whole mind is this part of ourselves that feel and only feels, right? It's a part of us that's just a pure feeling. It's got not thought attached to it because it's brand new. It's birthing something, and that's creation. It's birthing something brand new that's completely incomparable to anything from the past. Actually, when we look at the teacher's manual, there's short chapters in there, and one of them is chapter 20, and that one is called "What is the Peace of God?" I'm sure I mentioned this before, but these are the golden nuggets, right? Because we all think like, well, I know peace, you know, I sit down somewhere and I find this peace, or I go by the lake and I find this quiet, or in the forest, right? But here it asks you, how do you recognize peace of God, right? And he says, God's peace is recognized at first by just one thing, in every way. Yeah, in every way. It is totally unlike all previous experiences. It calls to mind nothing that went before. Yeah. The past just slips away, and in its place is everlasting quiet. Only that. Quiet has reached to cover everything. I skipped a few lines just to get to the point, right? So what is the peace of God? It's the brand new moment. It's the birth of the new. That's creation. Constantly birthing new. So we can't never define God. Because guess what? It's always the same. It creates. It's not like creation occurred and now we are in it. No. We're creating as God creates. We're creating a brand new thing. But if the emotional intelligence body is that of a 3-year-old, you know, we see things and we throw tantrums because that part of ourselves has not evolved. And the more you begin to look with a vision, not just with your eyes or with the ego mind, with vision, with that which looks at the now, not which condemns the feelings even more, right? Because that's what happens. Feeling arises and we're like, oh God, not this sadness again. Oh God, not this grief again. Yeah? And then we present with this grief for years thinking something's going on. But what we don't see, there is a part of the mind that rejects it. yeah, that says, I am the good one, and that thing down there is not the good one, it's a bad one. I want to get rid of this. So can you see where we're heading? Unless that feeling body is seriously evolved, until it really begins to turn into this golden lake rather than a can of worms or a muddy water. It becomes clear as the sky, it reflects in the ocean, and the sun shines and reflects the light in the water. Yeah, and the water reflects back to it. It's the same thing. It becomes this exquisite vision and reflection of that vision in ourselves. It's really, really beautiful. And from that place, the Christ is born, right? The ego mind no longer exists in that place. Why not? Because when your feelings, your true feelings, again, your true feelings, when that returns, that will ground you, and your mind will cease to think or seem to think it's thinking. Right? Because if you go into meditation, you slow yourself down, and then you come out of meditation and your thinking kicks back in. However, if your feeling body stays grounded, stays brilliantly open, right, your ego mind will cease to seem to be, and then you'll suddenly find fresh thoughts, inspiring thoughts. Like, wow, I've never seen this like this before. Oh, wow, I've never seen this like this before. And so it brings this peace of God, which is a constant elevation of yourself. You're not burdened by grievances. And I don't know if I said this before, but my original language is Slovakian, and in that language, the word grievance means making myself heavy, right? That's what a grievance do. Instead, you being light and elevated self of form, where every cell is actually buzzing in you. Everything buzzes, just buzzes. You're like on this, feel like you just open up the champagne, and then all the bubbles just keeps rising and rising and rising, and there's no stop to it. Yeah. The body's energized, body's enlivened by its own light, right? So even body, turns light. Somebody says in the Bible, if your mind's clear, your body's all light. You're one with God. You're same. You create. I love this. So your decision to see is all that vision requires. What you want is yours. Do not mistake the little efforts that is asked of you for a sign that our goal is of a little worth. Can the salvation of the world be a trivial purpose? You are the Savior of the world, because each one of us carries a world in ourselves. We think world is outside of us. No. The world is inside of us. We have all these ideas what the world is, and we come out and go, there it is, there it is, there it is. I know what's going on. And here we are. So you can close your eyes and you know everything that's going on in the world. Whatever that is your world to save. Save yourself from those visions. So instead of creating, we're multiplying these disasters and diseases and deaths instead of creating. It says God has one Son, that's you, and He is the resurrection and the life. Jesus was just an example live of this. He said, hey, follow these things that I did. He didn't say, nail me on a cross and put me in every room of your house, hanging on a cross. Like, what kind of metaphor is that for a little child that goes like, who is that guy hanging there on a cross, Daddy? Who's like, he died for your sins. well, good luck. It's a completely never solved anything, because that crucifixion is the one, when I have a grievance, I have crucified myself while I think that I've attacked my brother. That's why Jesus said, hey, forgive your brothers, forgive, don't stop doing this mad thing. His will is done because all power is given him in heaven and on earth, right? So that's what's in you, the Son of God, the daughter of light, it's you. The second coming, as you come again. And I tell you what, it is just like coming. It's orgasmic, it's an awakening, it's fresh, it's brand new, it's delightful. So, the exercise of the day consists in reminding yourself through the day that you want to see, right? I got myself a little watch and a little application at some point when the phones came out, and it just reminded me of the lesson as often as it said, Sometimes I had it on every 7.5 minutes, sometimes on 10, sometimes on 15, sometimes half an hour. If I was too busy, I would set it at just maybe occasionally, right? But there was always this kind of little tiddly-doo. I was like, oh yeah, I would have definitely forgotten, right? So it's refocusing our mind to this one single purpose. Ask and you shall receive. But first we need to learn how to truly ask. Yeah, because we might say, well, I've asked. Have you received? No. And you might have, of course. So what does it take to receive? Well, first of all, we are so weakened in our own mind through the attack thoughts that we have against ourselves, through our actions which we judge, the grievances, the little, oh God, I've done this again, oh, not this again, oh gosh, I'm so slow, I'm this. Those are all attacks upon your strength, upon your invulnerable self. So at this point, it is important to learn, even in the Bible it said somewhere, ask with all your heart and all your strength and all your might. How do you ask with all your heart and all your might and all your strength? He said, dear God, be so kind and, give me this and give me that. God, we're not even addressing God. We're addressing some kind of image of God somewhere in our mind that we pray to. And then we go like, well, I've been asking, I haven't received. Once I listened to tape maybe 30 years ago of Anthony Robbins, and he said, ask and you shall receive. He said, he didn't say bitch and you shall receive, right? So it is like the asking has to be from the bottom out of our being. You're like, God. And then you stay with that desire, profoundly asking above all else. I want to see, which is really the upcoming lessons. First just ask you for your determinations, and then it will strengthen it, and it'll strengthen it until you find that place from which you truly ask and then truly receive. Been lately using, when I have clients and friends, using this, like, God, give me the right prayer. Like, God, what is it that I really want? God, what is it that I actually want that will sustain it, that will actually make me happy? Because we could be asking for things of this world that will never really fulfill us. So to ask for, what do I really want? And see, this is an individual thing, because whatever would fulfill me might not fulfill you. So there is not one thing we can say. So you go, God, give me the prayer, give me that which I should ask for. And Course in Miracles are in general like prayers. You know, each of these lessons are in a way of asking to see, showing us actually what to and how to do it. Do not distress if you forget to ask. But just remember, you know, do whatever it takes. I used to put rubber bands on my hand, or I'll put a little cross on my hand, or I'll put little stickers everywhere, or, you know, if whatever was happening in my world, I say, well, like when that happens, I'll also remember my lesson, you know. And we need to be slightly refocused into this one single purpose, you know. There's only one thing we want, and we want to be completely healed. And then the next lesson, he goes, okay, let's reinforce it, you know. Like, I'm determined to see things differently, right? And when the vision comes, we'll see everything differently. At first, he just gives you these exercises, you know, I want to see this differently, and that differently, and that. But eventually, everything changes. The one thing I like to say, that I often experience with these lessons, and this is the time when people get discouraged. And I'm only saying this because I've been teaching this course all around the world in many different forms, just for my own sake, really. But and that was that no matter how much I did the course, there were times when it seemed like I was getting lighter and lighter and lighter, and suddenly I would get into this, what seems like dark and heavy, right? So from lightness and lightness, that which is below us begins to rise up too. And when that, if we push that away, and I'm talking about this thing of when you have an opening and then you lose it, this is exactly what closes it. Because something arises and we go, ooh, what's that? I don't like that. That doesn't fit into this light. And we push it down. And so this course can bring us to our knees. When that happens, rejoice. Because that's a good place to be in, right? It's a very good thing to be in, because you got to undo that programming and all those labels and all these karmic patterns. Just undo them. See them what? Differently, right? So we look at a feeling of some kind, and then you determine to see that feeling differently. And suddenly you realize that that feeling wasn't what you thought it was. That's a big aha moment. When a feeling that looked like shame for your, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years of your life, and suddenly that feeling turns into something exquisite. And you go like, wow, I have never seen this differently. I only saw it always the same. Or here comes the shame again. Or here comes the grief again. Or here comes this pain again. But behind all those are miracles waiting for us. But we have to be determined to see it differently. Otherwise, what do we do with it? We nail it to the ground. It's like, oh, not this feeling again. What is that? That's an attack. That's an attack upon myself, right? That's attack upon the will of God within me. So suddenly, you go, I'm determined to see this feeling of sadness differently. And then you stay with that feeling and say, hey, I've been calling you sadness, or maybe you're not what I thought you were. What are you? And now we are receptive. And now that inner vision is looking differently at this. It's not rejecting it real quickly. It's not killing it. It's not nailing it. It's resurrecting it. Yeah? Because I am waiting. I'm waiting for this to show me what it truly is. And then, when the feeling has a chance and a loving acceptance for the first time, maybe in a whole lifetime, yeah, suddenly the feeling is loved by you. Yeah, your mind has been trained enough to have a loving approach to what it is observing. And here comes one of my favorite sentences in the lesson 21, I beg your pardon. Yeah. So I'll go a little bit. I'll go a bit across to the beginning. So in the practice periods, begin repeating the idea to yourself, right? So you sit down and go, I, who? I am. Oh, I am what? I am determined. What? I'm determined. What does that mean, determined? And really sit with that word. What does that mean, determined? Oh, actually. Because you can do these lessons in a head. And I've seen people doing this in head for 30, 40 years. And everything's stuck in their mind. The whole salvation is just stuck between their eyes. And it's actually nothing occurred. You can see that thinking mind is just raving on in there. Right? It hasn't stopped yet. It hasn't recognized itself. Right? So I am what? What is determination? You have to feel it. Yeah, it can't be just an idea in the mind. It's got to be deeply felt. What's a determination? You know, that's the same as that prayer. You know, with all your heart and all your might and all your strength, I am so determined. Right? That gives you power. Without it, you just go, I'm determined to see things differently. Okay, let's have a look. You know, that's not going to go very deep. You got to stay with the title and really have it work you. I am what? I'm determined. What are you? I'm determined. What? I am determined. And now you have some energy. There is a true prayer coming across. And no longer it's just words. It's the actual deep, one-pointed desire for only a full awakening, you know? And has to be 100%. 99% will not cut it. There is either one or the other. A key thing. I want heaven. 100%? Yep. And boom. There you are. You cannot not have it, yeah? Because that's the design. Ask and you shall receive, yeah? So I'm determined to see. To what? To see things differently. How? Differently. What does that mean? Not the way I've seen them before. Completely differently. So now we've done just the beginning of the exercise, right? But then it goes, you know, then it goes deeper. In the practice prayers, begin by repeating the idea to yourself. Then close your eyes and search your mind carefully for situation, past, present, and anticipated, which arouse anger in you. Right? And now if you don't feel the anger, you will just do this imagery thing again. And that's imagery is pretty much of ego-made world that's completely separate from God. Yeah. Anger may take form of any reaction ranging from mild irritation to rage. The degree of the emotion you experience does not matter. You will become increasingly aware that a slight twinge of annoyance is nothing but a veil drawn over intense fury. When I read that, I went, whoa, I have an intense fury in me somewhere. Oh, I want to find this fury. Like the, because I can see I can be angry. I used to be angry. I was annoyed, but intense fury, where is that? And personally, for me, a whole set of channeled books rocked up called Right Use of Will, which I've probably mentioned before, some of you know. And that was exactly what helped me to find this intense fury in me. And when you begin to see this fury differently, and when we step back and let this fury be what it needs to be, and we train ourselves not to hurt others with this fury, and stop manipulating with anger, just let this fury be free to express itself, because we saw it differently. We're no longer going to control it. We're going to allow that fury to do what it needs to do. Right? It's a very different experience. So he says, try therefore not to let the little thoughts of anger escape you in a practice spirit. Remember that you do not really recognize what arouses anger in you, and nothing that you believe in this connection means anything. You'll probably be tempted to dwell more on some situation than on others, on a fallacious grounds that they are more obvious. This is not so. It is merely an example of the belief that some forms of attack are more justified than others. And now I want you to really look into this word attack, because this is going to be the next discussion that's very much looking at it. Attack, feeling arises, what do? We attack it. We get rid of it. What we're doing now, we split ourselves into two camps which create duality. Right? You have thought and you have a feeling. You say, I don't like this feeling. You push it down. Now you have two camps. You, the good one, feeling the bad one. If you want to see it differently, I would say, consider just for a moment, what if the you, the good one, is actually the bad one, and that feeling is something else? Just a food for thought that could make all the difference in the whole universe, right? It's like a little golden nugget there to consider that this thing with which we think, it might not be us. It could be like this stranger living in there that we are awakening to recognize that that's not us. And that's why most of our thoughts do not mean anything. That's why we need these lessons to become aware that what this ego mind actually is, and that we are the ego to a most minute detail. Basically, it's penetrated in every cell, in our movements, in our gestures, in the way we say things, the way we think others, and it's pretty much projected everywhere. It basically even says in the Course in Miracles, consciousness is still a domain of the ego, because in truth, you're not conscious of anything. You are simply radiating the light, and you're creating. you're not even conscious of it, because it's simply for an act of giving yourself as light away, and in that is a perfect delight of your being. So there he gives us little exercises that I'm determined to see, and now we're going to look at which all, okay, I beg your pardon. As you search your mind for all the forms of attack thoughts present themselves, hold each one in the mind and tell yourself. Now this is really important, you know. We're looking at everything that we have attack thoughts about. So I'm determined to see in the name of a person that usually is a target of our attack. I'm sure his name's already popped up, or hers, or it, the thing that bugs you, right? It's right there. That's an attack thought. And so I'm determined to see so and so. I really put that word out and say it out loud and say, God, guess what? I am now determined to see so and so differently. I am determined to see, you know, I specify the situation differently, yeah? Imagine you say, like, I'm determined to see the COVID differently, right? And if you're really looking at these attack thoughts, which is really coming up soon, we're going to go deeper into, is COVID is nothing but a representation of an attack thought, right? Because it attacks us without us being able to see what it does, that it's around. Same as these attacking thoughts, we actually need to train ourselves before we see where we attack our feelings, because we always attack ourselves first. What? We always attack ourselves first. Something's occurring, it brings up a feeling in us which is usually quite frozen and we don't even see. We attack that feeling and we go, God, I wish that guy wasn't here. Yeah? But we stay with that. We stay with that image until the mind is trained to see what it's doing. And without stopping those attacks, we are just going to have this world of attack projected out there, and then we become defensive because we think that there is actually something out there that's of a danger, but we don't see that we put it out there. So this is where this course is profound in training our spirit, our light, our upper self to realizing that it in itself is the nasty one. And sometimes we cover up that little nasty with this positive self that says, I don't do that. I am light. At the same time, you know, it's just a part of the self that decided to be nice. But we both know that if there is something nice, then something has to be something not nice. We're in dual world, and so we're denying not nice, we're accepting the nice, but it's still just in dual world. It's definitely not the truth, right? So positive thinking, as lovely as it might appear, is a form of a denial. Today's ideally, now we have lesson 22. What I see is a form of vengeance. This is a lesson that's let's go real spear down. What I see is a form of vengeance. Check this out. Today's idea accurately describes the way anyone who holds attack thoughts in his mind must see the world. I'm going to do that one again. Today's idea accurately describes the way anyone who holds attack thoughts in his mind must see the world. Having projected his anger onto the world, unless you obviously haven't got none of these tiny little twinges of annoyance with anything, there is that fury still somewhere. And by the way, if you ever get to that fury and you set it free, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. It's like one of the greatest orgasms you might ever have. So that's a little carrot out there. Having projected his anger onto the world, he sees vengeance about to strike at him. His own attack is thus perceived as self-defense. Now this becomes an increasingly vicious cycle until he is willing to change how he sees. Yeah, I'm determined to see things differently. Otherwise, thoughts of attack and a counterattack will preoccupy him and people his entire world. I mean, how beautiful is that written? It's like a major catastrophe put into a paragraph. I'm going to do this again. Having projected his anger onto the world, particularly the one that we don't seem to have, he sees vengeance about to strike at him. His own attack is thus perceived as self-defense. This becomes an increasingly vicious cycle until he is willing to change how he sees. Otherwise, thoughts of attack and counterattack will preoccupy him and people his entire world. What peace of mind is possible to him then? It is this from this savage fantasy that you want to escape. Isn't that a joyous news to hear that it is not real? Is it not a happy discovery to find out that you can escape? You made what you would destroy and everything that you had and would attack and kill. All that you fear does not exist, right? Because all that we fear is just a projection of our own attack thoughts. They actually are just projection because we harbor those in ourselves. So what we actually see that that the world, the way it is now, is not necessarily a representation of just love, generally loving thoughts. Yeah, it is a picture of attack on everything and by everything, and does not reflect the God's love everywhere. And yet it is my own attack thoughts which give rise to that scenario. So our loving thoughts will save us from this perception of the world, and then we'll find a peace of mind that we are basically. And he says, look at the world 5 times a day and say to yourself, I see only the perishable. What do you see? I see. We've got to really stress this I thing, because we have this I so projected out there that we think that there is actually a world. We need to see that it's only I see only the perishable. Is that true? You see only the perishable. In 200 years, none of this will be here as you see it, or definitely not in that form, right? I see nothing that will last. True? Say yes. I see nothing that will last, because that's an absolute statement of truth. What I see is not real. What I see is a form of vengeance. Is this the world I really want to see? So he throws us a little carrot, goes like, is this what you want? And then he goes into 23, and then he goes, here is a relief from all of this. I can escape from the world I see by giving up dark thoughts. I can escape from the world I see by giving up dark thoughts. Now that's going to take a little willingness, because we are used to these dark thoughts sometimes in the most minute form that they don't even look like an dark thought, you know. It's like, ooh, I wish I looked different. Oh, God, look at my hair. Oh, yeah. Those are all dark thoughts in a very subtle way, and they become. We're so used to them, we don't even know that we are attacking ourselves constantly. Oh God, my body. Oh God, oh, I hope this pain is not gonna be, the cancer coming up or something. Gosh, it's a constant attack, and we are so used to it, we think it's just a normal way of thinking. So this course will train us to become aware that we are like an attacking machine, We are the we are the atomic force that's constantly, that if you look at it, your upstairs is constantly attacking anything that's downstairs, whether it's the body or it's your feeling or your emotional body, your heart, yeah? Bit of indigestion. It's like, oh, where is that? Right in the heart area, right? It's like, ooh, attack. Oh, something's wrong with me. Something is this. It's a constant attack. I can escape from the world I see by what? Giving up attack thoughts. And that's going to take a little bit of willingness. But, hey, you want to wake up, this is the way to go. It's so beautiful. The idea for today contains the only way out of fear that will ever succeed. How important is that sentence? Imagine this, guys, particularly if you have some kind of fear thoughts in your mind about, your body going, or your kids going, or your, whatever it is. The idea for today contains the only way out of fear that will ever succeed. This is Jesus speaking, yeah? Nothing else will work. Everything else is meaningless. But this way cannot fail. Every thought you have makes up some segment of the world you see. So it is with your thoughts then that we must work if your perception of the world is to be changed. If the cause, If the cause of the world you see is dark thoughts, you must learn that it is these thoughts you do not want. There is no point in lamenting the world, right? And that's what we do. Yeah. Gosh, wish this government was doing a better job. Gosh, wish the food supply would be a bit more pure. Like if we're constantly lamenting the world. There is no point in lamenting. There is no point in trying to change the world. Right? I mean, like, I'm going to change the world. To what? To another projection that you think is right? Right? There is no point in trying to change the world. It is incapable of change because it is merely an effect. Effect of what? Effect of my attack thoughts. I told you, these lessons are powerhouse. They're unbelievable. And so there is no point in trying to change the world. It is incapable of change because it is merely an effect. But there is indeed a point of changing your thoughts about the world. Here you are changing the cause the effects will change automatically. The world you see is a vengeful world, and everything in it is a symbol of vengeance. Each of your perception of external reality is a pictorial representation of your own attacked thoughts. One can well ask if this can be called seeing. Is not fantasy a better word for such a process, and hallucination a more appropriate term for the result? You see the world which you have made, but you do not see yourself as an image maker. My thoughts are images that I have made. Remember lesson 15. You cannot be saved from the world, but you can escape from its cause, which is you, obviously, me. This is what salvation means. For where is the world you see when its cause is gone? Vision already holds a replacement for everything you think you see now. Loveliness can light your images and so transform them that you will love them even though they were made of hate. It's quite strong today, our brother Jesus. For you will not be making them alone. The idea for today introduces the thought that you are not trapped in a world you see because its cause can be changed. Now, salvation comes from who? You. No one's gonna save you. It's not gonna be Jesus rocking up in again, parting the sky and go like, okay, here I come, my second coming, you're all safe. Here, golden age. It's not gonna happen, right? Why? Because you're the savior of the world. You can save what you made. This change requires first that the cause be identified and then let go, so it can be replaced. Yeah. This change requires that the cause be identified and then let go so it can be replaced. The first two steps in the process require cooperation, right? So you find the cause. When you actually see that you're causing this, you will let it go. Yeah? It's the first change that requires first that cause be identified and that let go. The minute you actually identify it, you will let it go so happily because you actually see that you made it. And when you see what you made in comparison to what God created, you'll go, am I dumb? Boom, gone, thrown away. There comes a little bit of embarrassment usually. So get used to being embarrassed. That was one thing I used to teach. Just train yourself to be really good at feeling embarrassed, because when you compare what God created to with what you made in a separation, there will be slight embarrassment. So the first two steps in this process require cooperation. The final does not. Your images have already been replaced. Truth is, the creation is going on all the time. Most of us are just not on it. We're caught up in this delusional addiction to thinking and projecting rather than on creation, on being like, same with the orgasm. Like the Big Bang was an amazing orgasm and we're just not on it. It's as simple as that. And if you have any of your feeling body still left that hasn't been completely nailed to the ground and attacked and crucified, you can simply by having that thought, okay, so if there is an orgasm, where is it? And then you begin to feel this profound tingling everywhere, because ask and you shall receive. It's like, where is that Big Bang? You know, where is that creation that's offered? It's that simple. It's like in you right now, yeah. But that with which to recognize has been annihilated, right? The will of God in us is like this, it looks like a bruise, looks like something that's like hit it so hard so many times that you can't move anymore. It's like this frozen It's like a frozen meat in a freezer. It's just like nothing. Yeah. Besides using it throughout the day as needed arises, 5 practice periods are required on applying today's idea. I mean, imagine you spend a couple of minutes a day applying this and you actually undo your whole karma just by this, you know. Even the first 60 lessons, if in case you made the first 60s, they are just pure undoing of what never was. Because this dream that we are dreaming is not reality, and it will disappear. Okay, so I'm gonna bring this to a close. Thanks for your attention. And one more thing, he says, I can escape from the world by giving up attack thoughts about, and then just notice what you are, you know, what you're attacking, and then just stop it. There's a really good skit on a YouTube called "Stop It," and I fully recommend it. All you have to type into YouTube "Stop It," and it comes up this kind of like an old series that was on telly. I can't remember the guy's name, but it's just like that word "stop it," you know. It really explains something quite profound, and it's very, very much aligned with the Course in Miracles. Just stop attacking, yeah? Stop it. But stop it. Well, what about this? Stop it. And what about that? Stop it. That's the whole thing. Just stop that. And when you stop doing that action, something else emerges. Yeah? Okay, so just notice how much attack's going on in there, and it's all about refining your capacity to pick up on what's really happening up there. And when we see it, we basically cease to do that, because who wants to live in hell? Anyway, thanks for listening, guys. And next time I'm going to continue with exquisite lessons, 24 to about 27. Again, like each of these lessons is truly can be called salvation, because they are just, you know, and just to remember, this is most direct Jesus we could ever dream of, you know. I don't know how many of you wanted to meet the guy. You want to know him personally, Course in Miracles, and you want to know him thoroughly and profoundly, definitely Course of Love, that would be described by Mari Perron. It's just an absolute treasure. Okay, guys, get you soon. Mwah.